to the cloud. Maybe we can get it later. Oh, okay. All right, so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good.
Why are we not? Did you sign out? Um. Oh, wait.
It said, you are the host now, but I don't think that's me. There we, oh, now it's Deborah.
Hmm.
No, I teach water. Okay.
Hold on a second. Do one more thing.
Is the class still open? Yes, this class is over. Very good.
Yeah, it's recording.
Oh,
Everybody who wants
But
to be
it's
on
fine.
screen, needs to sit over there.
Really? I don't think it is. That lady with the red nose. Is it record? I
Yeah,
don't see record.
It said it was.
No, it's her
It said it
phone.
was recording.
I think that little green thing.
Just double check. Anything nice?
Those are deep.
She-
He's very deep.
See, pause, stop recording. Yes, it's recording.
Okay. All right, welcome everyone. And for those who watch this later, forgive us for all this technical difficulty at the beginning. It's not difficulty, but getting us started. So welcome to Peace Talks. Wednesday nights, we're featuring the 4 agreements. We've got a beautiful crowd in the room to give some energy to this because we know that we want to walk in our courage, let go of things that hurt us, that does not lift us up. So we will open our discussion with a spiritual mind treatment, and then we'll dive right into the reading. So as we breathe in and out, that substance that's readily available for us, we don't have to go looking for it. It is that power that powers us all. Each of us are here to agree with being impeccable with our words. Don't assume anything, always do our best, don't take anything personally. So as we let go of those things, we know that we think about our childhood and our paradigms, what are we dragging into today? So we're here to talk about letting that go. And as we let go, we lift up, and we give gratitude for lifting up together, because where 2 or more may gather, there is power, and we are powering SEC. And so it is.
So it is.
So we stopped in page 13. Our format is to read a little and pause a little and dialogue a little. I kind of like that. I don't have to come up with a lesson plan. That works. So Beth, would you mind reading tonight? We're on page 13. And it starts in the dream planet. And that word keeps coming up, dream planet, or the dream, because we have a board member, Rick, that likes the Course in Miracles. And so it talks about we're in a dream state. And so I don't always understand all of that book, but I do like a lot of that book. But I also thought about the song after hearing that again yesterday. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So life can be a dream, or life can be a nightmare. And I don't think he speaks to the nightmare part. So welcome, Rose. We're just getting started. Oh, hey. Beth Rose. All right, so Beth is gonna kick us off, and we're on page 13. I'm sorry, page 13. I can't see without my glasses. So page 13 in the dream.
Them again and send them all the emotional poison we feel at our injustice.
Wait. I'm not
I
where
know,
you are. I'm not where you are. I'm not where you
Oh,
are.
in that, okay.
Okay.
In the dream of the planet, it is normal for humans to suffer, to live in fear, and to create emotional drama. The outside dream is not pleasant dream. It is a dream of violence, a dream of fear, a dream of war, a dream of injustice. The personal dream of humans will vary, but globally, it is mostly a night. If we look at human society, we see a place so difficult to live in because it is ruled by fear. Throughout the world, we see human suffering, anger, revenge, addiction, violence in the streets, the tremendous injustice. It may exist in different levels in different countries around the world, but fear is controlling the outside dream.
I want to pause there. Thank you, Beth. Welcome, Barbara.
You're
Well,
so-
she
so
was
good.
on TV.
Favorite person I've ever.
All right.
I just got pulled over,
Okay.
but I got a warning. And
Okay. The universe says she's going someplace good. Right.
I have a agreement, you don't give me a ticket.
I love that. That's great.
That's never happened to me before.
This is a lot. Positive vibes.
Yes, I must be. I don't
Very
know.
positive vibe. So we're
There
on
you go.
13 in the book, and Beth just read that rest of that paragraph from In the Dream.
Okay.
And on this Saturday, we had our board meeting, so I didn't get to participate, but there was some kind of demonstration
Mhm.
that we did here locally. And so when we speak to that, I, you know, when we look at people suffering, I think that's why that demonstration happened. We don't want people suffering. Well, how do we stop the suffering? So to me, that was a stand-up way to do, let's stop suffering. So that, when you read that, that popped up, although there's other words there, but that's what that I saw, and the violence, stop the violence, because violence, emotional violence too, when you're worried to death, that's emotional violence, if you ask me. If you're stressed to death,
Yeah.
that's emotional violence, and you don't know how
Yeah.
to pay your bills, how you gonna do this, that's emotional violence. So
Yeah.
physical, somebody's saying something, we can't see.
I said, yeah. I said, yeah. You can't see me?
Rose,
Oh my,
top of your
There,
head.
Debbie, we can see.
And how,
well, I see all of you. I don't know what's the matter with you guys.
Rose, pull your computer down.
There.
roll tide.
Yeah.
Okay, so Debbie, you were saying something?
I was just saying how true that is, that I think worry is the most destructive thing that we can do. I really believe that. And I know that when I'm in that spiral, and I thought about you, Nisi, in something you said about this recently in a decision that I made, and I knew I was like, okay, I'm not happy. And then I made the decision and I'm like, okay, now I'm happy. And I kept thinking about you and going, yeah, that is such a good kind of benchmark. But that toxicity of worry and that negativity, and it is violating, it's violence, it's violating of the self, it's violating of my spirit when I do that. And kind of reminds me of how long I used to hold on to phlegm. And I'd be sick and my mother would say, cough that up. And I would do everything to avoid it. I would swallow it. I would just ignore it. And finally one day I started coughing it up and I was like, oh, it's much easier. It's not so horrible. It's like getting rid of stuff isn't really as horrible as it sometimes seems.
Thank you for that. Anybody else?
Yeah, fear will definitely paralyze you. And I think the older you get too, and things happen and they burn you, and it's trying to overcome those fears that you used to not be afraid of too.
Right. I get that.
I recently read something that like when if you're worried or stuck on a decision, sometimes your subconscious knows the answer before your conscious mind
Mm-hmm.
exactly relates, but so I recently vacated the farm and I just started packing one morning without even another thought about it, because I was sitting on the fence and it was not a good situation. There was a rooster that chased me. And it was, the person that ran the farm was off and I was uncomfortable and I was in a little room, top of the farm, and I had to go outside to the bathroom. One day, I just started packing without giving it another thought, and I was there that afternoon, and I think that, of course, God moves us, but sometimes we don't consciously think, oh, well, I guess it's time for me to go. Sometimes you just do it.
Yeah, but I think sometimes trying to figure out the right decision, that's agony. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just do it. Just
Right.
Make a decision.
Just
and do
start
it.
moving,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that sometimes. It's like you wake up one day and it's like, yeah, it's time to do this.
Right, right. And
You don't
just know it in your
consciously make the
bones. You don't
decision,
have
it's
to
just-
think
it's all of
another
a sudden
thought
it's
about
made.
it.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah.
And don't you think you just did but you didn't have to debate about
Nope.
it? I think
Yeah.
it's not, we also debate about it.
Mhm.
Your body says,
Yeah.
there ain't no debating. We're out.
Exactly.
I don't like the debate. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, no,
playing
it's
tennis
miserable.
with yourself, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yeah, he would say that there's three courses of action. There's action just to be doing something. And then there's inaction, which is not doing anything, and then there's right action. And so what I've learned, what I've been practicing is, if I know what to do, I do it.
Mhm.
If I don't know what to do, I wait.
Mhm.
And if I have to make a decision, there's a timeline. Obviously, the universe doesn't care one way or another, so you just pick one and do it. Because it'll drive you crazy trying to pick. Yeah.
Well, and then back for those people that are still in the work world, like corporate world, because we're all in the work world. We're working to live every day, breathe and all that. But when Ron made me think of when I was in corporate America and it felt like I was about to have a disaster happen. I went to prayer because I was about to get real upset about what was about to go down. And I think our emotions can cause a barrier,
Yeah.
even how slight, I didn't need anything to get in the way of that. I just needed it to go smooth. So the first place I went to, even in corporate America, and I don't think people think about that, is okay, I need this to work out. I know there's a power bigger. These people are coming in from, they already have this, and I need this to go well. I cannot make this a second impression the first time. Whatever. Okay, God, you got this. Then my boss calls back. Long story short, it works to the prayer.
Yeah.
And if I had gotten upset, I don't think that prayer would have worked. I think that's why you didn't get that ticket. You weren't upset. Were you upset?
I wasn't that upset because I said all the way. And it was like 2 blocks down the road. I had it coming so bad.
So she was upset. So
And I just smiled and said, I know I was being bad. And then I said, I'm going to a church meeting right over there.
I'm telling you, the universe will have our backs and we can get in the
Yeah.
right, but we can't be upset. It's
Right.
something about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to kick in the
Or attitude.
Yeah.
'cause-
That energy.
I
It's
know.
like an energy.
Yeah.
So she just, she would have taken it either way, and that's what she did. She didn't try to talk him out of it. She didn't
That's
come up with a
never My
lie.
whole life, that's never happened. They don't- Always.
Yeah, I got mine, I've been blessed, I've been talked out, I've talked my way out of the way, it's because you just, I'm like, I wasn't paying attention, officer. Or I drive a truck, it went down there, got away from me, he's like, I appreciate your honesty. And
It's something about that positivity, when we start to backslide a little bit, or let me think of a lie, or how can I finagle this? Or
Yeah.
I think we start sliding down some other road, and here comes Oh, here we go, you know, but if we can keep it positive, and that's what I think this is, try to, you know, so it won't be a nightmare, it'll be life is but a dream.
Yeah.
Kathy, how many times does that happen?
Nisi,
Yeah, someone on.
sometimes I decide I'm gonna, if I really am having trouble deciding, I will suggest to myself that I try on one of the options, and I usually end up trying on the one that I'm really leaning toward. And so I say, okay, I'm just trying it on, maybe for a few days or maybe for a week. And I usually end up pretty quickly. As soon as I have, quote, tried it on, I usually go, okay, I'm fine. I'm fine now. You know, this is it, you know, and so, but trying it on has been a good way for me to kind of put my toe in the water, you know.
Okay, so you're not one of those that just jump on in, you know?
Oh,
like-
I do sometimes, but when I'm waffling, that's one of the things I do. But a lot of times I just know when I know.
So,
Okay, I like that, we do, I believe that. Rose, any comments? You good?
No,
Okay,
no, not really. Thank you.
really, all right, so next.
Stuart Wild says, I don't know if any of you have ever read anything by him, he says that we are on a certain vibration. And if we're on a vibration that's not on the vibration with the problem, that we just miss it,
Yes.
you know, that somebody else might be having a day where they're, and they run.
Oh,
But if we stay calm and peaceful, that we miss it. The problem can still be there, but we just don't connect with it.
That would, yeah, that's right.
Who said that, Glenda?
Stuart Wild.
Stuart Warren.
we're wild.
Say it again, how you missed it, I missed what you
You,
said.
if you're on a vibration of peace and harmony and right order, that you're in a peaceful vibration, you're not on the same vibration with the trouble,
Okay.
you know? So you don't run into the mugger or the accident or
Okay.
the traffic ticket.
Yeah.
You just,
Because I was really happy to be coming here, maybe that helped, I don't know.
Well, I think even
You're
if
putting
you
it out
run
in the universe,
into
I'm
it
thinking
and
that.
you stay peaceful, cause I've had my purse, my wallet stolen. In the Philippines, and, I think if I had panicked, it would have went worse. So I think you still run into things to show you what the world is made of, for one. But nothing, I didn't miss a beat. Matter of fact, with them stealing that wallet, I got out of debt within 6 months. Cause I had to replace cards and started looking at what was in the wallet closer. Got out of debt. So I don't know all the answers, but I just know even when something bad happens, I've gotta stay cool.
Yeah.
I just got to.
Because we
Mhm.
what the thing that's gonna be on the other side of it
That's right.
could be better than what was
Getting
before
out of
it.
debt.
And if we get all caught up in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Worry and
Overthinking.
anxiety. That's pretty amazing how the
Learn
other
that.
side of it, we don't know.
The pain teaches. It's
Yeah.
not bad. The pain teaches. That's what we
And-
have these episodes, so it's to learn.
John Waterhouse is one of our ministers in South Florida, and he went to Europe last fall. And when he got there, his suitcase didn't. He was separated from it. So he turned around after a little while and came back home. And he kept applying to get the luggage returned. And in March, he had people treating from September to March. In March, he got the suitcase back. And he thought, well, I know my computer won't be in there. And plus he had $4,000 in cash inside the computer. He opened up the suitcase and looked, and there was his computer and there was all of his cash.
Oh my God.
From September,
Oh,
but they
wow.
were treating the whole time, he and his.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
No, is it
It's
works?
amazing.
I don't know how many commercials we need to do about prayer working, but you
Yeah, that's
can't
right.
pray when you're ticked off.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Prayer.
For panic.
I don't know what that is.
Foxhole prayers.
I think they might work too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, that's a neat thing about foxhole prayers. I'm gonna write that down. But it must be something else going on in a foxhole for people to survive it and then people don't, because I looked at graves of boys that were 17 and 18-year-old, and then I've got vets in my life. So
Yeah.
I don't
And
really
didn't
know the
actually
answers to that.
intend to refer to it as our soldiers. I meant whenever I'm really like wanting my way and I'm struggling and I'm not sincere and with spirit coalescing,
Oh,
I'm
I
really
got
almost
you.
begging God.
Okay, I
That's what
got you.
I was
Well,
referring
maybe a
to.
foxhole prayer is like when you have no other option. You
Okay.
just have to completely surrender.
Right.
Yeah.
Complete-
Right.
Because there's no other
The
way.
answer, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
surrender. When we
Surrender.
surrender to source, surrender to
Yeah.
universe, then our prayers are automatically answered
Mhm.
because we're in,
Mhm.
because whatever
We're
happens
not
is
trying to
divine.
manipulate it or
Yeah.
control it. We've had to surrender.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rose gone to sleep up there?
I think so.
No, I'm not asleep.
That's all right.
But I did have to prop my feet up, but because my feet are swelling today. That's why I'm not here.
You talk quietly, Rose.
You can rest your eyes.
We can. We'll
No,
whisper.
I'm reading the dang book and am thinking y'all need to move on to hell. It's fixing, it's this, we're talking, the next segment is about hell and it's really good.
We're meditating. Yes.
So you want to read Rose?
Sure.
We're on page 14.
I'll get us out of hell.
Okay.
If we compare the dream of, I'm on page 14. If we compare the dream of human society with the description of hell that religions all around the world have promulgated, we find they are exactly the same. Religions say that hell is a place of punishment, a place of fear, pain, and suffering, a place where the fire burns you. Fire is generated by emotions that come from fear. Whenever we feel the emotions of anger, jealousy, envy, or hate, we experience a fire burning within us. We're living in a dream of hell. If you consider hell as a state of mind, then hell is all around us. Others may warn us that if we don't do what they say we should do, we will go to hell. Bad news. We're already there. We're already in hell, including the people that tell us that. No human can condemn another to hell because we're already there. Others can put us into a deeper hell, true, but only if we allow it to happen.
Ma'am.
Mhm.
Any comments? That is,
It's true.
Just as it's true, there's heaven in it. And when you, as a kid, thinking you're gonna burn in hell, you know, if you're this way, if you live that life, if you say this, if you swear, you're gonna burn in hell. And
Oh, yeah.
Hear me.
yeah,
That's
God
a
can't love
domesticated.
you and you can't go to heaven. You know, it's like, there's no Santa Claus, there's no Easter Bunny, you know, like, all of this stuff, and then you're like 17 going, what exactly is true?
Mhm.
Yeah, I said till we 65. What is true?
So we start deciding what is
That's
true.
I agree.
What is our own truth, and I can remember around age 14 or 15, sitting in church and listening and thinking, now this is my preacher. I adored the man, I hope I'm good, but I'm not really agreeing with this. And of course, I don't tell anybody when I'm 14 or 15 years old, and it would take 4 more years for me to actually wear that, if you know what I mean. Eat, sleep, breathe, completely own it. Yeah. But that's a good feeling when you can just sit there and go, I don't actually know that. I didn't know, like, it doesn't align with me. I just knew that doesn't really feel true.
You're a seeker.
Yeah.
You were an early learner.
That's a cool thing.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, Glenda, you know, it wasn't me. That was God within me.
The
That's
time
what I was
for
now,
you to
know, just kind of
Have that
thinking
realization.
that way. And
That's-
people saying, they know, they tell my mom, she's so opinionated.
Well, part of me
Uncle would
too,
say, yes, she's just.
I think one part of us too, when we're like denied, we're like, well, if I'm going to hell anyway, my.
I love a good time.
I felt like that, but I'm like, all the stuff I like, if I'm going, I might as well go ahead and let's just do what I like. Sisters. Anyone else?
I really like the last sentence, only if we allow this to happen.
We get to
That's
choose.
huge. That's
Yep.
sometimes hard not to choose
Yeah, that's
that.
easy to forget.
You don't think you're choosing it,
We'll forget that we can choose.
right?
Wanna read?
Sure. Every human has his or her own personal dream, and just like the society dream, it is often ruled by fear. We learn to dream hell in our own life, in our own personal dream. The same fears manifest in different ways for each person, of course, but we experience anger, jealousy, hate, envy, and other negative emotions. Our personal dream can also be an ongoing nightmare where we suffer and live in a state of fear. But we don't need to dream a nightmare. It's impossible to enjoy a pleasant dream.
Nisi?
Huh?
If there's any way of making the microphone be a little bit more in the middle of the table, or if some of you who are speaking and reading could speak up a little bit more. Now, I am reading along with you and I do have it if you know, whenever you want, but so I'm hearing, I can follow the text, but some of your comments are really far away and,
Okay.
you know, just spoken low.
Okay, so we'll see, Cassie's pushing this a little bit closer and then we'll keep in mind that we raise our voices.
It might be important for the recording too.
Yep, right, and if this one, we might not even put this out there because we started so late with the recording, so we'll see what Debbie does. For that, we'll try to raise our voices. Can you hear me okay at this point?
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Awesome, wonderful, thank you. All right, so we'll keep going.
Okay. All of humanity is searching for truth, justice, and beauty. We are on an eternal search
You
for the
skipped a
truth.
paragraph.
Pardon?
You skipped a paragraph.
I did?
No,
No,
We allow this.
I don't think so.
no,
Did you read past that? Oh, was it me?
Hey,
It was me.
It must be important to read it again.
We were actually at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
All of humanity was where it started.
I did?
Drama.
Yeah.
Didn't she read to the bottom of 15,
We talked about.
that second paragraph where the ends with, we have no eyes for this truth?
No, all of humanity was where she left off. But
That's what I
Right.
thought. I was gonna say.
I'll start again and I'll be louder this time. Get the stick. All of humanity is searching for truth, justice, and beauty. We are on an eternal search for the truth because we only believe in the lies we have stored in our mind. We are searching for justice because in the belief system we have, there is no justice. We search for beauty because it doesn't matter how beautiful a person is. We don't believe that person has beauty. We keep searching and searching when everything is already within us. There is no truth to find. Wherever we turn our heads, all we see is the truth. But with the agreements and beliefs we have stored in our mind, we have no eyes for this truth. Oh, that's really a deep one.
Any comments? It is, when it comes to fear, did your heart start beating when the light came on?
No, I knew he had me.
Oh.
I was like, of course, because I was,
blue light, you know, you
Firefly.
never
Oh,
know
yeah.
what
Yeah,
the heck,
right,
you know,
right.
so I'll get a little, you know, I ain't do nothing
yeah.
on, but you
Yeah.
just don't know, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
Flashing at me before I got to him. And then I passed him. Yeah, no, I knew,
You
I
didn't
knew
run
what it
him.
was.
That's what you did.
Yeah, you deserve this, so, anyway, but yeah.
Anything else, on the property, Jen and, Peter have a little creek-like thing, and Jan says sometimes there's poisonous snakes out there, so she's real concerned there, you know, and fear is there, you know, when she talking, we not walking back there, you know, so I'm like,
Yeah.
so fear can kind of come out of nowhere, is
Yeah.
what I'm getting to.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where it come out of nowhere.
Well, I
where
think-
it's a treatment.
Well,
that
I
other
think it's
things-
primitive, so I do a lot of neural study because our brain, our animal instinct is fear makes us know danger, there's danger there. So we're in a fight or flight mode, but you need to figure out, well, what am I afraid of? Do I run from it? Or why am I running? Because sometimes people are like, oh yeah, running the fear, but that fear, God put that in us because it's letting us know there is danger and our best benefit is to leave. When your hair sticking up in the back of your neck, okay, it's time for me to go. You don't have to ask me twice. I'll leave. But some people, you know, they're just, I don't know, but that's, we're trained to do the opposite. You know, but God instilled those in us, those feelings for a reason. And a lot of times we ignore, we suppress or whatever, but those feelings are there for a reason. We need to explore them.
But what if the fear is something that we don't have to be afraid of?
I know, see, that's what I'm
That's the
talking
one.
about. That's the ones I'm
I
fighting for.
think there's
Right,
two
right.
different
We
kinds
get
of
burnt,
fear.
yeah.
Right, right.
I think there's fear in the moment of something happening, and then there's a fear that we generate in our
Overcome,
minds
yeah.
by not being present.
Like you step into the
Yeah,
fear
mine's
of
the first
something.
one, because
But it,
my.
but it comes out
there.
of primitive living, doesn't it? Doesn't it come out of times when we needed it in old times
Yeah.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
real danger? Yeah.
Keep us safe,
I think we need it
but
here
sometimes we need to come out.
Yeah.
this time, because when I was back to that travel, it would tell me places not to go.
Yeah.
And what not
Yeah.
to do,
Yeah.
and I was in another country, so
Yeah.
how would I know that? if
Mm.
that
Mm.
thing
It's that
you're
gut,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
Oh,
So,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
primitive.
traveled the
That's
world, and it
cool.
said, don't go
Cyber
that way.
tooth coming.
Yeah,
Run,
yeah,
you
like
know,
you said, hair,
Mhm.
goosebumps, whatever, it's gut. Says my stomach is flipping, it's like, no, I'm
Time
not
to
getting in
go.
that cab. I'll take the next one, you know, you gotta listen to what
Right,
it
yes,
says,
right,
or,
I
you know,
agree
end up
with
in a
you.
ditch, you know, it's like, it said, don't do that.
Right.
And
That's our
faith.
intuition.
That reminds me too of a study group I was in, and we talked about the characteristics of, you know, our like fear can be also a virtue as well as a vice. Serve you, or it can compel you towards, you know, extreme running, fight or flight thing. Same thing with procrastinating, gluttony, all of the different characteristics that we consider sin or not sin or good or bad. They're actually all, like, they can serve us. You procrastinate one night to go put your grill away, and you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and think the bear may come and, you know, get the grill and whatever else is down there. So you get up at 3 o'clock and you go get the grill in. You get to see this moon rising over the horizon because you procrastinated. So your characteristics.
Mm. Nice.
And you're staying in the present,
Right,
you're feeling it in the
right,
present.
right.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
you're not
interesting.
actually- Fear and all the other things are not good or bad, it's how they serve us.
Yeah.
And I
Maybe a
love that,
reason
because
to do
as
it.
long as you don't let it cripple you or, you
Right,
know,
right.
or get, yeah.
Make
Some
sure,
decisions just
that
kill
they
you.
can hear, yeah.
Oh,
Can you hear,
Okay.
Debbie, did you hear that?
Most of it.
Okay. Yeah, cause I like that, cause I don't even know what to call that, Kathy, but I get it, cause, you know, you get up at 3 in the morning and then you see the moon, I'm like, yeah.
Like serendipity.
Synchronicity.
You know, I love that visual. All right,
Bam.
would you read next, Kathy?
I'm sure.
Thank you.
At the bottom of 15, right?
I believe so.
We don't see the truth because we are blind. What blinds us are all those false beliefs we have in our mind. We have the need to be right and to make others wrong. We trust what we believe, and our belief sets us up for suffering. It is as if we live in the middle of a fog that doesn't let us see further than our own nose. We live in a fog that is not even real. This fog is a dream, your personal dream of life, what you believe, all the concepts you have about what you are, and all the agreements you have made with others, with yourself, and even with God. Your whole mind is a fog, which the Toltecs called matote.
Yep.
Your mind is a dream where 1,000 people talk at the same time and nobody understands each other. This is the condition of the human mind, a big matote. And with that big matote, you can't see what you really are. In India, they call it matote maya, which means illusion. It is the personality's notion of I am. Everything you believe about yourself and the world, all the concepts and programming you have in your mind are all matote. We cannot see who we truly are. We cannot see that we are not free.
Let's pause there for just a minute. What makes us not free?
Our restrictions, our minds sometimes, the fear.
So,
Well,
False beliefs,
Early agreements that were.
Believing.
right,
fear.
Believing in the dream.
Or believing in the dream. believing
well,
in
sometimes our
reality.
beliefs can keep us captive.
And the subconscious, so we're not even aware that we're being influenced. We want to be like our aunts or our uncle or our brother. We start developing those sort of natural inklings of what we want to be, not even knowing that something as simple as that is influencing us.
Yeah. Sometimes we will never see what other people see, what we project and what other people, because different people, they live in their mind and they're always trying to fit you in their box. Like,
Yeah.
well, you're twisting everything I say, but they don't understand that you are you and I am me, but we are set in these beliefs in the 3D, and it can get kind of crazy. But that's why he's trying to break it down within the dream. And sometimes, if I'm isolated and I'm taught everything when I'm young, and now I live in my world, and then I go out into the world and I'm hanging on to my beliefs, I'm clashing with everybody because I'm hanging on to my beliefs because it's true to me. But then when you get out there and people are like, you are just crazy, girl. So, yeah.
So some of our early beliefs are accurate and some are inaccurate.
Right, everybody has their world, everybody
Right.
has their realm, and yeah, and we're just, I think that's why society and civil and the powers that be want a rule so we can be governed and be ruled, but God didn't make us that way. God made us
Free.
free, but I understand the tribal, I mean, we're in a way, we're tribal, small groups, we need to fit in, we need to be social and not always outcast, but also we need to have a safe, really know who we are and feel safe. But when we're fearful all the time and we go with the flow or go, get along to get along to, what is that saying? To
Go along to get along.
Yeah, thank you.
How do I know
So can we tie that to the agreements? So if we follow the agreements, and it's not such a
It's-
hodgepodge,
Right,
that
we're in our
you're kind
dream.
of
We're not-
comfortable in your
Yeah.
true
Yeah.
self,
It,
and you present what you want to present, and you have your boundaries, and you're not in that blender of trying.
this is
Yeah.
preliminary. We're not, when, my remembering of reading the book is that right now, he's still laying the groundwork. And the groundwork is, we can choose who we want to be, we can choose what our truths are, and we don't have to be bound by what we've been taught. What sets us free is the ability to choose the higher thought, to choose from a higher perspective, from a God perspective, or
Yeah.
a universal mind perspective.
They can think that I'm crazy and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so,
Yeah.
okay,
So
cool,
again-
okay, that helps, that
Yeah.
helps.
the agreements are very practical applications down the road, but at this point, he's still trying to get us to understand
Yeah.
that this life is just a dream, and it's just something we've all made up together,
Yeah.
and it's not really real.
We're creators of our own creation.
Exactly. We co-create, yeah.
When people say life is a dream, I have to translate that in my own language.
Right.
Because it ain't a dream to me. I get what they're saying, that's why I sang that song, Life is But a Dream, and there's lots of songs that say that. And there's dreams and there's nightmares. I get it. And I know this is the foundation. But these are paradigms. This is the word that translates to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
The paradigm is what each one of us got when we were growing up, whether you were a middle kid, first kid, only kid, born in the North kid, born in the South kid, born in another country kid. Paradigms. He can call that a dream all he want to, because everybody's position on the planet was their position.
Indoctrinated.
So
Mhm.
now it doesn't relate to anybody. So yeah, they're gonna call it whatever they call it. But that kid experienced that regardless to whether it's a dream or a nightmare.
That's right.
It's real. It's real.
and-
Explaining to us how we got to where we are.
Yeah,
Right, so
exactly.
that's paradigms work
Mhm.
for me.
Sure, and it's the same.
So the
it's same concept.
paradigm is all the things that made us up.
Mm.
Now, do you like it?
Mhm.
And
You
what
can
you
do
gonna
something.
do about it?
Or-
You know?
or-
Agreements come up, you know,
It's
so,
real.
yeah,
Think
so
it's
it's,
still what we
yeah,
think.
so,
I
yeah.
don't have to put up with this.
You
But
mean
you're
there is
gonna
no
like it.
Santa Claus?
You're gonna love it, you're gonna want more of it.
You mean there's no Easter bunny? Well, I'm gonna go get my own Santa Claus.
Sure there is. Very too.
Next.
Rose and Debbie, did you guys want to add something?
No,
Well,
I'm just right here.
The next paragraph explains a lot to us, I think. So,
All right, so who wants to read that one?
Rose.
okay,
read.
I'll read if it's okay with everybody. That
Yeah.
is why humans resist life. To be alive is the biggest fear humans have. Death is not the biggest fear we have. Our biggest fear is taking the risk to be alive. The risk to be alive and express what we really are. Just being ourselves is the biggest fear of humans. We have learned to live our lives trying to satisfy other people's demands. We have learned to live by other people's points of view because of the fear of not being accepted and of not being good enough for someone else. And that reminds me of something that Scott Peck says in The Road Less Traveled, which is an old book, by the way, but he said it takes more courage to go to therapy than it does to go to war.
Mhm, mhm.
I
Wow.
believe that.
That's why I say that I think the fear of the fear of success
Right.
is much more frightening to people than the fear of failure.
Exactly.
Right, Debbie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fear.
Mandela said that our problem is not that we think we're too strong. There's a problem that we're afraid of being weak. We're afraid of being strong. When
Right.
If we would be as strong as we are, the whole world will change.
Well, people don't even know they have power. It's that disappointment. Like people don't want to be poor. People like, "Oh, I don't want to cause trouble, you know.
I don't want them to like me.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Right. And
Mhm.
people don't realize once you step, it's like my experience is like, okay, we're afraid. But when you start standing up and then you get the fire, but then once you go through the fire, it's like, oh, I did that a long time.
Burns off all the
Then
stuff you
people
don't need.
respect you because
Mhm.
keeping you down the whole entire time. But then once you get through it, then they're like, oh, I'm your best friend, or oh, I was there with you.
Yeah, that sounds like a.
But they're not with you with the struggle. They don't understand the struggle. Yeah.
Glenda brought up Waterhouse, when he had his center in, North Carolina. I went to a conference there, and a part of it was, they did this walking on coal thing. And
Really?
I heard about that, I'm like, why would I do that? So by the time we finished, because we did a little prayer thing before, and so we all gathered because the coals are getting all hot for everybody to go out. And I'm like, why would I do that? I'm still saying, why would anybody do that? And so they get out there and the prayers running through me, and I'm seeing the energy of the people. Guess who the fourth person is walking across the coals?
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
You did it?
yeah, and they said if your feet didn't get burnt, you really were in tune. Because some people's feet burned, because it was
Yeah.
not a short walk, and nothing happened to my feet.
Amen.
So I don't know what that was, but I think that was a walk through fire, like over fear, no matter what the heck, just do it anyway.
I got-
And
I
that
got
I kept some of the coals, they're in my house, to remind me that I walked on fire and didn't get burned.
Awesome.
So I think that helps with the fear thing too, because I think we're gonna have fear. Like you said, it's a natural. And I was like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? I don't need to walk on cold. I go right ahead.
I've always admired people who did that. I remember, first seeing it. It amazed me. And I thought, you really would have to be in tune with your higher power for that not to burn you. Occasionally you might be able to move you're not thinking and you move that iron skillet, you just cooked that cornbread in and it didn't burn you. But this is a whole other thing. I mean, I'm amazed.
I was.
did anybody not go? Did anyone say just,
Yeah, people did not do it.
yeah,
And I should have waited, because by the
I
time it
respect that too.
would have been as
It's
hot.
fine.
That's what I wish I had done. But,
Fern was that the one that I was at.
Oh, you did that?
I did it too. And
Marvin
she
too.
said, yeah, Marvin walked it.
Oh.
She said, I've been through enough fires in my life.
And she didn't
I don't
do it.
have to
I
walk
don't
through
have,
this one."
yeah,
Right.
yes.
That was her explanation. And I thought
Did
that
you
was
walk
really
on the
good.
coals, Glenda?
But not that time. I
Oh.
did it at Edwin Gaines. She
Really?
had another.
Oh,
thing
at another thing?
In Minton. Mhm.
Wow.
You just know if you're supposed to do it or not.
You don't know. I didn't know.
Well, when you get ready to do it,
I
you know.
did
if
not
you-
know. Linda.
You do in heart.
When you
heart
got
did
ready
it.
to walk.
Heart
But I'm
knew.
still wondering why I did that. That's what
Your
I
higher
have
self.
coals.
Get your heart new.
I have coals to remind me, because I'm like, why would I do that?
Get your heart new.
I didn't want to do
Yeah.
that. And I'm like number 4, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Your higher self, like, we can do this.
And I did it, and I didn't get burned. So I'll never forget it, because I wasn't doing it. So I didn't prepare to do it. I was one of the ones that wasn't.
You were
doing it.
prepared.
Yeah.
What
There
are
was,
you
there
Exactly
was
right.
something within you that moved
Yeah.
you.
I have the coals to remind me,
Yeah.
because I just didn't know why I
Spirit
did that.
prepared you.
The universe prepares you.
I would too.
I won't do it
would
again.
Would you,
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
is that a retreat in Mentone you're speaking of?
It
That
was.
They do this on a
On a regular?
basis or
She's not
quarterly
there
or
anymore.
something?
She's moved.
Oh.
And John's not in Asheville anymore.
No, he's not. I don't even know
But,
if he does that anymore.
I don't
I would love to find a retreat for all of us.
I
to go
would
to.
too. I would love to.
Not necessarily walk on.
Take it. Yeah, let's skip the whole part.
Everybody to go on a retreat
Whacking each other
outdoors somewhere.
with sticks sounds like more fun.
There's a process though, that they walk you through. You
Right, I
have
went
been
through
The
it.
process,
Mhm.
and you get your mind in a certain place,
Mhm.
and that's how you're able to do it. You can't just go out and walk. You have to
Right.
get ready for it.
Right.
Tony Robbins does it too, I think.
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Robbins.
I remember like like missionaries and stuff in churches when I was growing up, they talked a lot about it. That was just one of the
Fire
things.
walk.
Fire, people walk across coals in other countries. And missionaries always have stories.
I think
About
that
faith,
helps set you free. I think it's a freeing thing, is why I brought it up. It
When
was
you
very
realize
freeing.
how you're capable of so much more than you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a great, like,
Yep.
way for you to know just how much our mind is capable of, also how much we don't
use it.
Yeah.
I know for me, that's what it makes me think of, because of the different experiences like that people share and talk about. And my mind goes, wow, to think that we're only using, I don't know, maybe a quarter of our actual capacity of faith, even in the clarity and of just reaching a different dimension. It just, yeah. I love that sharing.
All right, who wants to
Bring
read?
photos. We're gonna have a show and tell.
Who wants to read next?
I have it.
Okay, thank you.
Ready?
We don't know where we are. Tell us where we are.
During the process of domestication, we form an image of what perfection is in order to try to be good enough. Boy, is that big. We create an image of how we should be in order to be accepted by everybody. We especially try to please the ones who love us, like mom and dad, big brothers and sisters, the priest and the teacher. The trying to be good enough for them, we create, trying to be good enough for them, we create an image of perfection, but we don't fit this image. We create this image, but this image is not real. We are never going to be perfect from this point of view. Never. Let me keep going.
Yes, please.
Not being perfect, we reject ourselves, and the level of self-rejection depends upon how effective the adults were in breaking our integrity. There's that word, our integrity. After domestication, it is no longer about being good enough for anybody else. We are not good enough for ourselves because we don't fit with our own image of perfection. We cannot forgive ourselves for not being what we wish to be, or rather, what we believe we should be. We cannot forgive ourselves for not being perfect. We know we are not what we believe we are supposed to be, and so we feel false, frustrated, and dishonest. We try to hide ourselves and we pretend to be what we are not. The result is that we feel unauthentic and wear social masks to keep others from noticing this. We are so afraid that somebody else will notice that we're not what we pretend to be. We judge others and according to our image of perfection as well, and naturally they fall short of our expectations.
Yeah, let's pause there. Thank you.
Okay.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
Good Lord, let's chew on that for just a second. When COVID hit is when I saw a lot of masks. When the mask went on, they actually came off for me. It seemed like I got to see people for who they were,
Mm.
in a way that I never thought I would. But I do get that. And do you think we start to pretend as children, showing up for our parents in a certain way and
Sure.
get into our adulthood, and how do we let go of it, which we're about to do with being impeccable with our word. But I think that's
Yeah.
part of the mask, because kids are still trying to please their parents, and some of the parents are even gone. They've left and gone on the other side, and they're still trying to do what my mom said to do this, or my dad said to do that. I'm like,
Yes.
and where's your mom? Where's your dad?
And who's in school? Who are the popular ones? I want to be like them. Yeah, I remember doing that.
Yeah. Or I want to be a cheerleader, or I want to fall, because whatever,
Well, who's going up in the company? Who's getting higher? Who's getting the brownie points and the job?
Or we think that if we're not perfect, we won't be loved. And that's what we all want, is to be loved.
Right.
And if it shows up that we're not perfect, maybe we won't be.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
And depends on your environment too, like, so if you're being screamed at, or everything's out of place, or you do have to be like, you don't want to stand out, but everything, you don't want to make any mistakes. So that's where
Yeah.
perfectionist. because we're so hard. Our parents were hard on us, or that person was hard on us, and we carry that. Because most of the first 4 years, it's up to 7 years, we're watching, we're not even hearing, we're learning behaviors by just watching, and then the words, and then being conditioned to who our parents are, and who our church are, who our brothers and sisters are. We're being conditioned. And then you grow up, and those are your beliefs, so you learn otherwise. And our own little personalities. So,
I think what it's trying to teach us here is to be true to ourselves.
yes,
And he's giving us the language and to be able to be true to ourselves regardless of what other people.
yeah, I have agreement with myself that I can be who I want to be. Until we're in that dream, until we realize that our reality is hell, and then we want to change some of the preference in our dream state.
Yeah, during that same period, I did a lot of reading, and there were athletes that stood out. There are other areas, but there was a swimmer that came out because he was going through mental illness. Because when you're the best, and you got to try to keep being the best swimmer, the best athlete, you can't
Yeah.
almost even tell your fellow athletes because they're in competition with you too. So you're now out of your mother's house, out of your father's house. You're in the sport that you love, but now you can't even be you in the sport you love because you're in competition with your teammates, in competition with the team you're going to swim against. And there was a lot of mental illness in that sporting arena because they couldn't be themselves anymore. They
It's
just
about
had to
performance.
be the best.
Yeah, performance.
And couldn't talk about it with their teammate because now they're slipping, or now they got the edge. You know, it was just so many angles. So it was just hard to even read that because they're in their joy now and they can't even enjoy it anymore. And they're, because swimming was his thing, and
You're
now,
talking about Michael Phelps?
yep.
I loved when I love it, that the way that he was the courage.
Wasn't that
You know, just like
courageous?
Ron talks about when people are courageous. That's what reminds me of, because he didn't know the fallout of that. And
Who was that you're talking about?
Michael Phelps.
The
Oh,
swimmer, right?
He came out
And
with
just
mental illness and then-
the way that he went through that, you could tell personally he was ready,
Mhm.
and the outcome of it didn't really phase him, I don't think.
Mhm.
Externally anyway, probably internally, there was a lot going on for him, personally in his mind or within his family or something, but you could tell by the way he talked about it, it was time. And ever since then, I think athletes have been more authentic and more authentic. And today now it's not just in athletics, it's across the board of, the Me Too movement took such a forceful influence. And some people speak of how, okay, now they're not focusing on that's died out. No, it was birthed, it's never going away. And it was birthed way before too. It was back in, women's rights and trying to gain the right to vote, and blacks trying to gain the right to vote, and all of these other sectors of society where we think we can't talk about.
Mhm.
And I love that. I think and I feel what I see is that as a society, we are beginning, there's so many of us now who are willing to say, actually, no, that's not what I'm feeling. And I do have this disorder or this disease or this lifestyle or this problem or this, and we're celebrating these people as we should have been all along,
Yay.
and
I like that.
go backwards into that darkness of maybe we didn't know back then, and maybe we were scared, and thank goodness my grandparents taught me a lot when I was younger, and I had a completely different view than some of my friends and neighbors and things like that. But now what I'm getting at is I love that because of Michael Phelps, and not just because of him, but people like him. People
Brought
are
him out.
willing to just say it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, we're at top of the hour. Where did we stop, Debbie?
We stopped right before it says we dishonor ourselves just to please other people. That would have been the next sentence.
Okay, very good.
Expectation at the bottom of the page. That's
Okay,
great.
so page 18, we start at, we dishonor next week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna close out. Thank you, everyone. Such a powerful discussion. We walked on coals.
Woo, yeah.
All kinds of fun stuff.
Got pulled over.
Learn we don't have to please people. Yeah.
This out and then we'll get out. Just a moment, please.
Okay, Divine Spirit, we have felt your presence here this evening. We have felt the oneness that is here with each of us. We are grateful for this time to be together, to be authentic, to be ourselves, to be honest, to understand who we are and that it's safe to be who we are. We're grateful for this text, this book that is leading us through these ideas, and we're grateful for each other. We know that we are blessed by being together. So I release this into the law and let it be, and so it is.
And so it is. Yay.
Bye.
Have some books to give away, guys.
Okay.
Great discussion.
And I want books to give away.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Bye, Rose.
Glenda did-
Bye.